Hey everyone, it's the internet's favoriteest music's most busiest music's critic ever, Joseph Fantimo here, and this is another episode of the Needle Plop. Now, before we get started, let's wrap up a few things that happened last week. Last week I reviewed Oso Oso's album, the Unihan mixtape. Now that I've had some time to keep listening to the record, I gave that album a 8 out of 10 based on 2-point deductions for not having a physical record actually, and I can't give every album a 10 out of 10. It's not fair, but I'd like to add those 2 points back onto my point score because in the past week, one, they released an actual physical album record, and two, I've had more time to listen to it now, and now I can give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's probably going to go down in history as, a very standard record that people are going to always love. So yeah, 10 out of 10 updated score on that. Now, as you can see, there's been a lot of changes to the Needle Drop. I redecorated the studio here, but that's really about it. So let's get on with the show. Got a great album to review today. Let's hear that theme song. Reviewing music's totally cool. I love music. I turn my record player on. That goes the needle. So I'm really excited to review a new album for all you top tier music nerds out there today. The album we're reviewing today here on the Needle Plop is Gardner's debut EP, Along the Heather. Sprouting up from Rockville, South Carolina, Gardner's is playing some new tunes straight into our earbeds. I've only listened to this record maybe 2 times through so far, but I can already say it's got some tunes. Now, the first thing I noticed when I started listening to this album was the record cover. It looks hand-painted, maybe some pictures of flowers decoupaged into the album art. I'm not sure, it's all digital the way I saw it, so hard to tell what kind of medium they used. Maybe they did it all digital on Paint or Photoshop or something. But it looks hand-painted, so, creativity still flies. Gardner's is a band, they've got it all. They got guitars, they've got 2 singers. One with the lower register, one's got a higher register. They meld really well together, I think. They also have drums. So what more do you really need from a band? Pretty sure the guitars they have is a normal electric guitar that you plug into the wall or amp to give it power, and the other I think is an electric bass. So kind of your standard rock outfit really. And by outfit, of course, I mean the way the band's formed, not what they're wearing, because I've never seen them live, so their fashion might be bad. The first song on this album is called Hot Car, and that's exactly where I was the first time I heard it. I was driving along, and I put on the song, and I was like, this is a real banger. This rocks. And then the song ends. And I'm like, they forgot the lyrics. They forgot to record the vocals in this song. And I know this is a new band, but that seems like a very rookie mistake. I don't know what they were thinking. It's an interesting move. I don't know why the producer or the mixer didn't catch that mistake, but I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're a new band, so maybe they haven't learned all the rules of music yet. And I'm no musician, but I am a music critic, so I know what I'm talking about when I say no one's ever made a song without lyrics. So this is either a really bold step to try to evolutionize the music industry and maybe the sound of where music's going in the future in the 22nd century coming up, or they just screwed up and made a big mistake. It's a pretty solid song nonetheless. The standout track to me on this album is Cuts. It was the first single they released. To be quite honest, I love this song. The opening line is just amazing. It rocks. They go, there are cuts on your hands. And honestly, that's all you need to listen to in the song. I didn't even listen past that point. It was so good. I just knew I loved it. So just listen to the opening line, stop it, rewind it, listen to it again, and keep doing that. You don't even need to listen to the rest of the song. I'm sure it's fine. Now, the close-in track on this album is called Little Stones. It's really good. I think it might be my second favorite track. The way they recorded this song really intrigues me a lot. The higher pitched singer is the one singing on this song, at least in parts of it. It sounds to me like they put her at the end of a super long hallway and recorded her from the opposite end of the hallway, because there's this echo ambient resonance to her voice on this track, and it's very haunting and kind of spooky, and it's a great way to close out the album, but it also confuses me about the rest of the album because It's so spooky, I almost feel like she's a ghost, but ghosts can't talk, so that can't be right. So, oh, or maybe a ghost got inside her and, was speaking through her, because that's probably the way ghosts talk. But it's probably they put her on the end of the long hallway, though. That's probably how they did it. Maybe maybe in an abandoned building or something. I'm just speculating here, but I think I know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure why they released this album in the middle of summer. It seems like it would have been a better business decision to maybe release it near Halloween to really capitalize and market that spooky aspect of the album. But then again, the rest of the album's not that spooky, just the last one, so I would probably rate that like maybe PG-13, because it might give you some chills and scare you at night because you think you're hearing ghosts. The rest of the albums, I think, is a total like PG album if you're ranking it for kids. So we get to the point where, how are you going to hear this record? How are you going to listen to it? Well, I'd hope with either speakers or headphones on, but I'm talking about physical media, baby. Luckily, there are going to be CDs available, made, I think, of this record. Not sure when, but that's what I hear from the music biz, so good job on that. It is also available on Spotify, any streaming platform, so, for all the millennials out there, stream to your heart's content. Now, the media blitz this band has been doing for this record is astonishing, really. It's really avant-garde, I think, in the fact that they're from Rockville, South Carolina, but they've been marketing it to a very small audience in Shelby, North Carolina. Because, look right here. You see that picture? They bought a street in Shelby, North Carolina, just to promote the album and their band. Now, like I said before, they're a very new band. This is their debut EP, the first one. Made a couple mistakes on the records, like forgetting lyrics, but I would have hoped they would have known how to spell their own band name. But it looks like they made another rookie mistake again, because let's zoom in here on this picture. Where's the S? It's just Gardner. It's not Gardners like it is on the album. There is an S for the street, but even if they were doing that, I would just be like Gardner's T, and then that wouldn't make any sense for a street. So it's strange. Maybe it's an inside joke for their true fans. I just heard about this band, so maybe I'm out of the loop on that, but it's interesting nonetheless, and I don't know any other band that's actually bought a street to promote their band or album, so, it's impressive. I mean, kudos there, but maybe that money would have been better spent to add the lyrics back into Hot Car. But anyway, like I said, that song, I actually do like it without the lyrics anyway. I just hate that they did that on their debut EP, so... Overall, I really like this record. I think it's super solid, and it's really astonishing to me that such a young band like them can put out a record this good. Because most bands, when they first start out, they don't put out their best stuff yet. It's not that great. Usually, the potential's there and you can hear it. You might be able to see it, but it's music, so you mostly hear it. But this band, it's almost like they've already fulfilled that potential there. And I think that's a really impressive feat that we need to recognize with this band while we're listening to it. I think if you ask the right people, they might say, this record isn't that great. It does sound like a first record that a band would put out, but I don't think so. I think it's really solid. I think it's a good record. I mean, this could be one of the best things they ever release. Who knows? I guess we'll figure out. Hopefully they'll keep putting out music, and then we'll be able to see maybe this was the best. Maybe there's more to come. Alright, so with all of that said, let's tally up the needles. So I'm probably going to give this record probably an 8 out of 10 needles. Once again, I think I'm going to deduct some points because first, they're a brand new band. You can't give a band their first album 10 out of 10 because it's their first one. If you did that, all that's left to go is down or stay the same. And I think that's unfair to do for a band this young, You want to give them a good enough review so that they feel proud about themselves and can hold their heads high in the world. You don't want to boost their ego up too much where they feel stressed about, well, how do we top this? What do we do next? We can't. We already have a perfect score on our first album we put out. How do we do that? I don't know. Well, so, some lesser music critics might want to give a perfect score to the first album, but I'm looking out for the band, so that was 1 point deducted. Another one, they forgot the lyrics to the first song. Wait, and they also didn't release it near Halloween. That's their decision. I'm not in the band, so I'm not going to point them for that. Yeah, anyway, so 1 point deduction for being a brand new band and me looking out for them. Second point, they made a couple of rookie mistakes, which is fine, It's still a really good album. So yeah, that's it for this episode of the Needle Plop. 8 out of 10 needles for Gardeners Along the Heather. And I hope to see you next week when I review a whole new, brand new hot album. Until then, I'm your boy, Joseph Fantimo. Music keeps you young. Take your vitamins. I hope you enjoyed this album review on the Needle Plop today. If you did, hit the subscribe button. See you next time.